and welcome to Mondays with May. If you're new here, yeah, I am May. Hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies, and I also happen to have been born visually impaired, legally blind, completely colorblind. So I knit and crochet by feel, and so today I'm going to be hanging out with you and knitting with you. So if you're looking for like a crafting buddy or some inspo or some ideas, you want to see the project before we start, here it is. Yes, it's upside down, right? But that's what we're working with. So I will be knitting with you today, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for choosing to come back, hang out, spend a little bit of your day with me. And if you are a returning viewer, I hope that you watched my video on Saturday. It says 6 months on YouTube, 60 subscribers. We might even be up to 61 right now. That's a big deal for me. Never thought I'd be there. Didn't know where I was going on this YouTube journey. So on that video, I talked about, my next project, something I wanted to do for summer. Well, it's the last week of August now. So here I am with knitting with you, and I thought, let's get that skirt started. So as soon as I made that video, I was like, let's get that skirt started. Let's start working on it. So that's what I got on the needles today. We got some of the knit picks and we crochet Kotlin going on the needles. It's in the color Nightfall. If you're colorblind like myself, it's a real dark blue. And I think it's a nice blue. I think it might be just like a little bit of a purplish blue, but I'm still interpreting it as sort of like a beachy, kind of a water vibe, or maybe like the night sky at the beach. I don't know. I have a hard time with colors. I asked in that video what you thought about putting those 3 different blues together for my beach vibe: the Nightfall, the Harbor, and the Indigo Bunting. As I said, I am really bad at putting colors together because I can't see them. I don't know, do they match? Do they clash? Do they actually look like water? Are they good beachy colors? I don't actually know, but to me, they give me beach vibes. They make me feel like the water. So that's what I'm doing. So if you have any thoughts on those colors, you know what they say: speak now or forever hold your peace, right? The Nightfall is on the needles. I haven't got to the point yet where I'm going to put the Harbor on, but I'm going to put the Harbor on next, right? So there's still time. There's still time to shout out in the comments and be like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't know if those colors are going to look good together or not, but we're doing it. So anyway, say hello in the comment section. Let me know what you're working on today. No, it's not Whip Wednesday. It's Mondays with May. I'm not confused. I just thought, you know what? Let's do some extra crafting and chatting videos on here for people who are, looking to see what other people are doing, who want to see what, the skirt might look like. So I do start my skirts from the top down. I do have some videos on that, on how I make the waistband, and I do make them in the round. I love making my skirts like that. To me, it's perfect because you can like try them on, right? You try them on as you go and you see how they fit. So I made the Astoria tonal one, the wool one out of the Hawthorne, and I did start with a US size 5 needle, a 3.75, and I just did the ribbing with that, and then I bumped up the body of the skirt to a 6 or a 4mm needle. Now on this one, I'm still using the 5 on the body of the skirt, and yes, I've tried it on, and it does fit. So, it's a different yarn, it's a different fiber, so we'll see what happens, right? It's a Kotlin, which I like. This yarn is 70% Tangweese cotton, 30% linen. It's a real nice summer yarn. If you watch my video on Kotlin, because through the month of August, it is 20% off at Knit Picks, and it's one of my favorite summer yarns. It really is. It's I could do just like a whole wardrobe with this yarn. It's so fun. It's so soft. It gets softer as you work with it. It's durable. It lasts. So I thought, why not make the skirt with this? So I am still on the size 5, though I've tried it on. I will be trying it on again here very soon, and we'll see how it still fits. I think pretty soon I am going to go ahead and switch up to the 4 millimeter needle. I kind of like to do with that. I play with my hook and needle sizes, and just roll with it, right? Just try it on and be like, oh, I think it's time to bump up the needle or bump up the hook. So probably won't be able to give anybody exacts on the Astoria tonal one with the Hawthorne. I can certainly tell you I switched needle sizes right after the ribbing. On this one, I'm probably not going to be able to tell you. I can tell you it'll be after. I think it'll be after all of my hip increases, because for now, based upon my last try on, I think I'm done adding in increases, right, for the hips and the butt, right. If it's good enough for me. So, but we'll see, right? We'll see. So I kind of like doing that as a way of, when you change up your needle size, it's a way of adding flair to a skirt without ever having to add in more stitches. That's just a little tip for you. If you're looking, at ways to do that, besides adding in stitches, is just bump up your needle size, right? That's what I do. And in my current profile picture on YouTube, I'm wearing a cardi. That's 2 different blue yarns, and I designed that myself. And I did that because I wanted to use that boucle, the body of the cardi, and that was a discontinued yarn. And that's all I had in the house, so I had to get creative on what I was doing. And that was definitely a creation in progress, meaning I really didn't know what I was doing. It morphed like 3 times in process, right, from what I was doing with it. But anyways, with that particular cardi, I just played around with my needle size a lot. I dropped down to my needle size when I was working on the waistband and did the ribbing, and then I went back up a needle size by 2 or 3 different needle sizes to really flare it back out and do the shaping on the bottom of that. So there's all kinds of ways that you can add in shaping. Of course, you can add in stitches, but you can also just, keep using a bigger needle and have a lot of fun with that. I do that with my shaping and dresses and coats and cardis. All kinds of fun things you can do with that. So pretty soon, I'll probably be bumping up my needle to the 4 millimeter. But anyways, what I want to talk with you about on Mondays with May, and probably with Wednesdays too, right? We can talk about whatever. We can talk about our yarn. We can talk about our projects. We can talk about my life, my guide dogs, whatever people are interested in. For sure, let me know what you're interested in. But anyways, I've mentioned it several times that I'm working on writing my memoir, and I'm just doing that by dictating it into my phone, the very same phone that I'm talking to you all on right now. I have no idea if that sun is too bright coming in the window or not. I really hope not. It's so hard for me to tell and get the angle of lighting right. Anyways, though, we're going to hope that it's not. We're going to make this video. I feel like I should get up and check, but I'm going to try not to. But I hope it's not like a total whiteout situation on the screen for you. But, so I'm working on dictating my memoir, and I've got hundreds and hundreds of pages on it, okay? And it's about my life, right? Obviously, right? My life. That's what a memoir is. It's the story of somebody's life. I love reading memoirs. I read a lot of memoirs. I love reading them. I love reading about people, who are different from me, who live different lives. I love learning about, just people's lives. I think it's really interesting. I think it helps us to connect with people and to learn about other people, especially people who are different than us. So I'm writing mine. And something that I just wanted to be really clear about is that I'm sharing my experiences as somebody who was born with a visual condition, right? I was born with optic nerve hypoplasia, so my optic nerve stopped developing before I was born, but I'm not totally blind, and so my book isn't going to be written from the totally blind perspective, because I don't know what that's like all the time. I have moments of total blindness, right? I'm blind by light, and so that is often why I record in the evenings. When I go outside, I do wear sunglasses because sunlight's really painful for me. So I just have to keep my eyes closed. My eyes just don't even hardly open for more than a second or two. So I do have moments of total blindness, and it's really weird for people to understand, including people who are in the blind community. So I have things in common with a lot of people in the blind community, right? I've been very active at different times in the blind community in my life, and I've been very active at times in the disabled community throughout my life. And so I use a white cane when I go out, when I leave my property, even when I leave my house. A lot of times I got a video of me walking around on my property where it says like, come and play hide and seek with me or something like that when we look for an Amazon package, and you can see me with my white cane there. I have a walk and talk at my parents' house. We walk around my childhood neighborhood with my white cane. So you will see that there. I'm going to pull those curtains just a little bit because I don't know how bright that is on the camera. I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful for anybody or not. So anyways, I could just tell it was getting really bright and uncomfortable for me. So I'm like, I wonder if that light's in their face or not. But so I'm going to be sharing my experiences, and I have a lot of experiences in common with other people in the blind community. Like I have had 3 guide dogs. Got my first guide dog when I was 17, Genevieve, and then I got my second guide dog, Albie, Albee, named after Edward Albee, the playwright. And then I got my third guide dog, Rosie, and they were all 3 German Shepherds, trained from guide dogs for the blind down in San Rafael, California. And I also use, a lot of similar technology as some blind people. In some of my videos, you might hear my screen reader talking in the background. That's when I, forget to put in an earbud. I don't particularly like to wear an earbud just because I like to stay really aware of what else is going on around me. To me, even in my own home, situational awareness is really, really important to me. Being able to hear. I live out on a rural property, right? Like there's coyotes out here, and there's animals, and there's stuff going on, and there's construction in my basement, and so I really situational awareness is super, super important to me. So I don't like particularly wearing earbuds, but I do have one in today so that I can hear my screen reader, and so that you guys don't. So I do use a lot of similar technologies and tools. I have a few cooking videos on my channel where I share with you my talking thermometer for the kitchen. And even my bathroom scale talks, y'all. Like my scale, right? Like all y'all, right? Is I'm 5'4.5", so my scale's 5 feet down below me when I step on it, and I can't see that far to read the numbers. There's no way that I could read the numbers on my back. I can't see 5 feet in front of me. And so even my bathroom scale talks out loud and announces my weight to anybody and everybody who might be in the house with me, right? So I use a lot of the same tools as people who are totally blind, but I'm not totally blind because there's still some things that I can see. I can still read really large print. I did a video on Tuesday called Tuesday Tech showing you. I got these big labels, and I also put some Braille in there as well. I do use Braille at times. I definitely have times when my eyes can't read even that really large print up close, right up next to my face. So I use a combination of large print and Braille. Like right now it's so bright and sunny out, I really can't even read, large print. I can read in the evening and at night, that kind of thing. But so I use Braille at times, but I also can still use large print at times. So on my phone, sometimes I'll use the zoom, sometimes I'll use the magnification, sometimes I just use the screen reader. I use a lot of different tools and a combination of tools as somebody who's visually impaired. but not totally blind. And so I am going to be sharing all those experiences in my memoir. There's something that I just want to make really clear. I'm going to be telling lots of stories in those books. There's probably going to be more than one book, because let's face it, there's a lot in my life. And if I tried to put it all in one book, it would be huge. It would be over 1,000 pages. And most people aren't even going to purchase a 1,000-page book of some random woman that they don't even know, right? I mean, if it's like your favorite celebrity or something, you can, get by with like a 900-page memoir. I think like Barbara Streisand, I think her memoir is something like, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages. It might be like 900 pages. It's big, and like other, biography of other famous people are huge. But for just an unknown person, most people aren't going to purchase or even consider reading a book about somebody that they don't know that's that big. And so it's probably going to be in several volumes. But I got all kinds of experiences and stories and things out there. I just was, talking about one on last Monday. About being at the fair, right? And so you're going to hear about those different stories on this channel. I thought, this is a great place to sort of speak some of those out into the world and help me sort of clarify, my thoughts on those and, try them out here in the world, see what some of y'all think. You can let me know, is that memoir material or not, right? Yay or nay, should that make the memoir or not? Is that worth retelling, putting in print, and writing? But something I want to make super, super clear is that when I tell my stories, when I share my experiences as somebody with a visual impairment, like, I don't represent the whole blind community. There's no way that I could speak for the whole blind community, because I said I'm not totally blind, and I don't even represent the whole community of visually impaired people. Like, we're all individuals. Yes, we use similar technology. Yes, we use similar tools, right? I can share experiences of people who've had guide dogs, and I can share experiences of what it's like when you don't use a cane, or when you do, that kind of a thing. I can share what it's like to go to college, to be mainstreamed in public school, and do some of the different things that I've done in my life. And on this channel, I'll be sharing with you, like my Tuesday Tech video was, sharing with you tips and tricks and tools that I use, apps that I use, things to organize my life out there. I can share with you those things that I'm going to have in common with, a lot of blind and visually impaired people. But, just because we use those same tools and techniques and things, it doesn't mean that we're all the same, right? We're not all the same people. And I just want to make that super clear with anybody, that at least you think that I'm out here and saying like, oh, I speak for the whole blind community or represent the whole, community, millions and millions. I've said it many times on my channel. The World Health Organization estimates that there's 16 million legally blind people in the world. And so we're all going to have, differences in our experiences. I talk about it often. I'm blind in the sunlight. Most people who are visually impaired lose their night vision first. So that's always going to be different for me. I still have pretty good night vision. So those are differences that I have. And so, my experiences are going to be different. Then I want to share them, and I hope that I can help people. I hope that some of the tools, tips, and tricks, tech that I use can help people who are dealing with visual impairments or vision loss. I hope they can help you relate and understand a little bit the experiences of myself and of some of my shared experiences. But there's no way that, we can look at every person now who has a white cane that you might see in the store or at the airport. You might see a guide dog at the airport or something like that. And you can't think like, oh well, this lady on YouTube said this happened, and so our experiences aren't going to be the same. I can share. I have a lot of guide dog stories. I have hilarious guide dog stories. I have funny. I have sad. I just have amazing. I had guide dogs for 17 years of my life. I had my beautiful German Shepherds at my side. And they went through, everything with me. I was a bridesmaid in 4 weddings with my first guide dog. I dated, I had boyfriends, I lived with men, went to college, went on dates, traveled, with my guide dogs at my side. And so I have a lot of guide dog stories, but, some of those Other people with guide dogs are going to be like, yeah, they're going to relate, right? And the other times, other people with guide dogs are like, nope, nope, that that didn't happen. That's not my experience. So we still have to not lose sight of individuals, right? It's just like when we're talking about any group of people, right? I mean, certainly we have stereotypes, right? We do. We have stereotypes of people, and some of them are, good, and some of them are negative, right? And some people definitely do fulfill those stereotypes, and other people don't. So we just have to be careful. I mean, my experience as a visually impaired person are based upon my life, right? I live in the United States, and but my experiences, I'm a woman, I'm a female, and I've lived with my parents. I grew up with both my parents. They're still married. I have one sibling, but my dad is an immigrant from China. He's a fresh off the boat immigrant, and so even just those factors can make my life experience different, right, from somebody else's life experiences. I was mainstreamed in public school in a small, rural community where there really weren't other visually impaired kids in the school system. There had been one other guy who was visually impaired, but he had day vision and not night vision, and he had finished school. He graduated from high school, and I don't think he was there his whole life. I think he relocated to our town when he was in high school. And so, most of the people I don't think really related our experiences. I think probably his daylight vision and his ability to see in the classroom was much better than mine, but he didn't have night vision. So, they really, I was a real novelty within my school system, and they didn't know what to do with me. So I'll certainly be sharing those experiences on my Mondays with May, on my Whip Wednesdays, on different things that I share with you that are things that I'm trying out as maybe sections or chapters or stories, and things from my memoir I'm putting out here on video. Just don't think that yes, it might be things that I have in common. Yes, some visually impaired people and some totally blind people are going to say, yeah, that was my experience too, but others aren't. So I just want to make sure that I am super clear about that I don't represent the whole blind community on these videos, on the stories that I tell, on the things that I share, right? I hope that they help other visually impaired people out there, but they might not. Other visually impaired people might be like, you know what? That is not helpful to me. And that's okay. All right. Well, we made it around a couple of times. This is the skirt. Like I said, it's top down, so we're working it up. So this is what it's going to look like, right? We got our ribbing on top here. We got our waistband. I do a waistband where I do a casing where I'm going to sew elastic into. I've got like at least 2 videos on my channel on designing skirts and waistbands, specifically showing you how I do this. So anyways, here's what it's going to look like when it's right side up. I think I'm going to go for today, but that's that knit along, that craft and chat with May. That's your Mondays with May. We're talking about the memoir, and we're definitely going to get into it more. So, alrighty, my friends. Well, I think you have enough light to see. I know sometimes in my videos when I do them too late at night, I turn on, the light at the end, and I put it down so you can see it. But I think you can see it pretty good. It's still pretty sunny out, in my opinion. We'll open up the drapes again so you can get some light on the skirt. You can see that blue. You can see the skirt. I think you can still see it pretty good right now if you have some sight. That's what it looks like with the sun and the sunlight. Okay, well, I'm going to go for now. I'm going to keep stitching away, and I will have something on Tuesday, and then we'll probably be back for Web Wednesday. Alrighty, my friends. Well, you know what I like to end with, right? Creativity is for everybody. Whether you see or you see like me, where you're not in color and not in the day, or you don't see at all. Creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or weaving or whatever it is that you do, today is a great day to craft and create. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, happy stitching and bye-bye for now.